We're joined by Goldie, and we're here today predominantly to talk about the next Fabriclive CD which you're mixing. How does it feel to be part of such an esteemed mix series?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, Fabric have always been pretty cutting edge when it comes to that. I mean, what's interesting about their mixes is that it's always, you know, from Stacey Pullen to Rodigan to, you know, to Casper's, it's just very, very diverse, and really the policy is all about music and how beautiful that world is, and how much of the stuff, I mean, I've just got pulled out a lot of CDs that I hadn't had. Is, you know, music's one of the only things that you can still discover new music. And
so it was almost an opportunity for you to pull out some old records which you hadn't played for a while and just have a little play around.
I think that the mix that I've prepared for them was a lot of more upfront stuff than the traditional, here's a retro album. You know, and I wanted to showcase things like Redo and Dubai and Lensman and all the new kids that are part of the Metalheads camp. But then you still celebrate with things like Metropolis, and, you know, when you got someone like J Magic pulls out old heads, and you got someone like Hazard who does Proteus. It's just, great thing about it is it's very dynamic. In a world of drum and bass, it's kind of, it used to be very dynamic, and then it went very flat and became very monotone, and it kind of lost a little bit of that dynamicness, I feel, as an artist. And I felt that it's very diverse a mix of music. Not that there isn't room for monotone, but I think some people just like to just, you know what, I don't want complicated, I just want simple. That's it.
Just want to put out some bangers.
I just want to put out the bangers, and that's it. That's all I want. You know, I think I've become a lot older in the music, and I also grew up in this music, which people, you know, these people think this is my first time around. I've been around doing this for 26 years, urban music and art. I've always been involved in. And probably one of my music policies is that if I can't listen to this music the day after I've been out, so I go to a club and I play. If I can't listen to this music the day after in my car or at home, then why bother with it? I couldn't play it just for, well, God, it sounded alright last night, but today it sounds really bad. You know, I don't think you necessarily need all of that serotonin and all that released just to give you this kind of misgiving about what music is. I stand by the music that I play.
It's almost like you feel you want to almost set an example with the tracks that you're playing, because obviously you've been a huge proponent of drum and bass for such a long time, and then do you feel that people should aspire to you as an artist?
I don't think people should aspire to me. I think people should do exactly what they want. I just think that I'm not here to go like this. You know, people forget this. When you're pointing the finger at someone, remember there's three fingers pointing back at you, right? I just do what I do, and that's what I do. I'm not saying to you anything, I'm just saying to you, there's a choice. It's up to you what you want to listen to. Music's music. You know, you forget, you know, the first record I ever made was Phil Collins with the Amen Break. What was I trying to say? Something deep, weirdly wonderful? No, I just wanted people to get off the tits and just jump around. So it's just interesting for me to be able to say, look, this is the music that I like. This music might not get a look in normally because some people don't have the balls to play it. Or they go, oh mate, it's too deep. When a DJ tells me, I can't play this, it's too deep, what does that say? What does that say about yourself? What does it say about what you're prepared to do?
And do you feel that a lot of DJs these days, they almost fall into a stereotype?
I feel a lot of them fall into that. I feel there's a lot of DJs without naming anyone out, calling anyone out, a lot of them, they know who they are. There's people who play music that they like, and actually like it.
So for you it's more about just expression than falling into a particular pattern?
Tony Coleman likes hands in the hair music. He loves it, that's what he loves. Some people aren't ballsy enough to say what they want to do. Some people want to just play music they actually don't like. That's where the snag is for me. Because if I played really commercial music, people would look at me in a really odd way and think, oh my God, Goldie's playing, that's not really what he does. So I think that's kind of just my position, and I like that. You know, and people always get me wrong. They always think, oh, Goldie's knocking music again, he's knocking all the commercial stuff. No, if you never had commercial, then we wouldn't be here. Everything has become commercial. Timeless as an album is commercial because it's sold lots of copies because it's commercial. But the word I may be looking for is integrity. Do you, as the artist that's playing it, believe that that has integrity? And do you think you're just playing it for the kids? You know, and I'm not gonna feed my kids what I'm not gonna feed my own. I'm not going to play something that I wouldn't play to my own. It's just not what I do. And I think we've become, sorry to interrupt you, but I actually think we've become in a society where all of that stuff on the outside sunk into that. We've become exactly what we said we wouldn't do. And all genres go through it. Dubstep will go through it, drum and bass went through it, house went through it, techno went through it, everything's gone through that.
And it's almost now like there's so many subgenres of so many different kind of extensions that it's almost like people lose sense of, you know, where they are in music.
The glass has to shatter, the branches of the tree have to grow. There are different subdivisions for that very reason. And even, you know, you've got new things like dubstep, which is great because you've got like a legitimate child of drum and bass music, really, where we were the bastard child outcast of house music. You couldn't even touch us with a stick. That's how bad we were. You couldn't play us on the radio. I think there was a time when you can get really arrogant with it and you think, oh, record companies, they're fucking great. Ferraris, cars, Bentley's, yeah, whatever. It just all goes and comes. It's one of those things, I've gone through all of that. Been there since it got the t-shirt. You learn with experience, and I've been here long enough to see all the changes in this music. And also you can become a little bit more humble with it and appreciate that there's some young kid out there hearing a record for the first time. And it might be the roughest bad, that's it, bass, it's just what it is, that's what it is. Because I did the same thing, going back 18 years.
It's almost, what's driving that is your real belief in the music that you're playing, which is perhaps lost on some DJs. Do you feel that your beliefs in music have changed a lot since you got started, or is it still stemming from the same thing?
My beliefs in music are the same now as they've ever been. They've never changed. You can put me on your box of Wheatos in a shiny suit, with a gold jumper on, with a pair of shiny shoes, doing the rumba. Put the 100 grand in my bank, put my kids through school, see you later. But me, as an artist, and as, you know, a painter, and as a guy that makes music, or alchemy if you like, will never be compromised. Because that's what I do. I have my day job, which is TV and work and doing all that stuff. The entertainment industry, make them laugh, that's what I do. Because I'm not going to let that come into this life, because it's what I do.
Well, that's really interesting, because you've obviously become incredibly famous for the TV and the film work that you've been doing, but it's almost like you see that as a profession, whereas the music is something where you're still, it's all about the love.
I'm a joker, I'm a clown, I'm a Heyoka Indian. I'm one of those people that, one of those individuals that will always do that. You know, I was shaking hands with the Queen 3 weeks ago. You'd have told me when I was 9 years old if I would ever be anyone, I'd never be anybody. So I mean, so you take away the name Goldie, you take away the, you know, whatever ego would have come with that, and you go, this is a story about a boy who went on an amazing journey and met all of these unbelievable people, then did this and this, then went to New York, painted, did all the graffiti you could do, and still remains doing what you do. I get up in the morning and I paint canvas. I do art shows. I just come back from Korea, that's what I do. You know, I've never played music in my house. When I go out to play music, it's when I'm DJing. You know, I was in the studio yesterday making a new album. I started last month. I'm having the best time of my life working with musicians again, because I somehow forgot what it's like to do that. And I think doing the whole Goldie's band thing was really, really beautiful to be able to do that. You know, because he reminded me. I think that's all it is with me. I just need to be reminded. We all do. We're great hard drives, but we got very little memory. We seem to forget things very easily. You know, someone shows you a photograph and you go, oh man, that picture, that's when we were in that place, right? It's really important to know, I know my position and how blessed I am to be involved in music and art. At this age, I'm 45, I'm loving it.
Well, it was certainly a very supportive project, the Goldie's Band by Royal Appointment series. Do you think that young people receive enough support to pursue music and creative careers?
The support that young people get is that we've all become... Let me ask you a question. Bring
it on, I'm ready.
You're in a pub and a fight breaks out. First thing you do is want to watch the fight, right? Usually. Be honest.
Guilty.
But if that guy who's fighting turns on you and looks you directly in the eyes, comes towards you, what do? You get scared at you. Okay. But we allow it for X Factor. We allow it to go, whoa, boo, get him off. We put them up on that stage just to crush them, like the fucking Romans. And we do it, and we call it the entertainment industry. But you wouldn't do it to your own. I wouldn't feed my own that shit. Drum and bass music and about all this music is to a certain degree isolation, but you go together with people. About sharing with someone, about sharing a vibe about music, and working with young musicians. And I think what was great about the program was reminding me, hey man, you know, when you're in a studio, it becomes internalised, and you forget about working with people. And I think it's very important. That's my own journey, might not be everyone else's experience, but it's really good to understand that in a mentoring role, that having all the riches is one thing, but having the wealth is another. And I think it's very important to be able to say to people, look man, you've got an incredible talent. You might not have the social skills to deal with it, but this is how you deal with that.
You've referenced your upbringing a number of times since we've started speaking, and I think something which is really impressive about your career is you seem to have just made it all happen for yourself.
Yeah, but I've got mentors. I just did a documentary about this, which is really quite phenomenal. This is from a company called Red Bull, which is amazing. And I have mentors and still do. You know, I painted a canvas 10 days ago with my old art teacher that inspired me to, this is when I was 15 at school. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not scared to reach out and say, man, thank you so much for the inspiration. You know, I couldn't really voice my opinion for many years in care. You go to say something, you think, I should have said something, but you don't, because you get suppressed by people. You fucking say anything, you know, you're gonna not go on for the weekend, or just people just fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like, and you sacrifice weekends, going home to a broken family and all this other stuff. Great thing about it is that I learned it the tough way, and that no one really can't take that away from me. You know, when you're 9 and you're being moved from one place to another, and you think you're never going to see these people again, and that's it, the end for you. And then some fucking smart journalist goes, so what's it like wearing your heart on your sleeve, and how tough is it to make a record? I'm like, fuck off. Are you having a fucking laugh? I've had it hard, mate. This is easy. This is the fun.
It's interesting you say that you felt almost repressed in some way when you were going through that process, because an aspect of your music that I think made you successful is that aspect of rebellion and like pure aggression and energy.
Has to be. You always say that when you make music when you're young, it's all angry and rebellious. When you make it when you're older, it's all love ballads. It's true.
Well, I'm not saying that's necessarily true for your music, but it does bring us neatly on to our next subject, which is your work with orchestras and live instrumentals, which you've talked about for your new album and some of the TV series that you do. What is it that fascinates you about an orchestra?
The fact that people forget that orchestras are made up of poor people in the very beginning. They were just poor musicians that came from villages that learned to played and courted people that had the dough. It's always been the case, and that's changed over the years. You know what I mean? It's but the fact of when you hear live instrumentation all coming at you in a wall of sound, it's something that is really, really unbelievable if you can allow yourself to be that open-minded. You know, when I was seeing Bjork and I got into Gorecki, Gorecki's still probably one of the finest composers. He died, unfortunately. 8 months ago, I managed to get an autographed score of his, I think, Symphony of Sorrowful Songs, which was an amazing 3 pieces of music. Just, you know, I think that's what inspired me to do Mother. It's what inspired me to do a lot of things. I just do believe that coming from the other way around, the synthetic kid that came out the other way from a drug-fueled 90s, 80s and 90s, you know, I just appreciated and learned how to be able to do what they can do, and learned that and printed it in my head and started to realise I can do this. And I was looked down on by some people in the orchestra. Oh, who's this kid going to try? And I'm like, have this then. Yeah, you're all right with that.
Something that strikes me about sitting down with you now is you've still got that raw energy and drive to achieve, you know, what you want, and that it still stays true to what you were doing 20 years ago.
You never arrive. People forget this. In the media, you arrive, and everyone goes reads. I've had people read things about, oh, I fucking hate that guy. Why do you hate me? Because I'm a projection of yourself where you'd like to be, or do you hate me because you actually don't like me? It's a difference. And I used to hate on people, like, oh, I fucking hate that guy. Why? Because he's better than me? I used to look at graffiti writers that were better than me. And I used to go home and sit to myself and think, the real reason is because you could be better.
So that's what's driving you, just you're trying to achieve that
be
perfection, if you like.
You'll never get perfection. There is nothing better than the imperfect circle. Every computer program in the world that can draw computer circles, it's great. You get a near good hand-drawn circle, and it just looks far better with the naked eye than a computer circle. And that's how it is. I've always been that way. You know, and I think let's start with Bikram yoga. I'm always going to be trying. You never do yoga. You never do life. You just try.
Well, Goldie, it's been fascinating and a real pleasure to sit down with you this afternoon. Thanks for joining us.